This program highlights the fact that social action is needed now. The population and economic explosion is the biggest change in the history of civilization. Humanity has become the most significant transformative force on the planet. The age in which we are living has been termed the Anthropocene era. The Earth is rapidly moving into a less biologically diverse, less forested, much warmer, and probably wetter and stormier state. This represents a profound shift in the relationship between humans and the rest of nature. How did we get here? What we consider reality, the world in which we interact every day, is not always an objective reality. It is also a social reality. A social reality exists because humans agree that it exists. A social reality is taken for granted by individuals. We are brought up in cultures that teach social facts in the same way it teaches us about objective facts, or facts that are not influenced by personal feelings, interpretations, or prejudice. Some examples of social reality include the concept of race, the roles determined by gender, the boundaries of nations, money, the institution of marriage. Consider race. Objectively, biology tells us that physically, there can be no meaningful definition of race applied to human beings. However, in the United States, there is a one-drop rule, a social reality. People are generally considered black and treated as such if they have descended from any black relatives to any degree. That is, even a drop of black blood has rendered someone part of the black race. The social reality of gender. Societies and cultures often define gender roles, and these roles become social realities. Certain behaviors are prescribed as ideal or appropriate behavior for a person of that specific sex. The traits and behaviors that are thought to be masculine and feminine differ dramatically from one culture and time period to another. They are social realities, not objective realities. Gender roles are learned in the home, through toys, watching advertisements on television, in movies, in school, songs. A social norm is created. A little more than 50 years ago, people believed that men and women had specific gender-related roles determined by biology. Women are more nurturing, so they were best suited to be mothers who stayed at home to raise children. Men were more aggressive and less nurturing, and were best suited to go out to work and provide for the family. Worldwide, we don't believe many of these norms anymore about men and women. Consider the idea of money. Until a few decades ago, the value of paper money in many countries was based on a gold or silver standard, or some combination of the two. Paper money was simply a convenient way of owning that particular bit of gold or silver. Gold has been used as the currency of choice throughout history. The United States followed the principle of the gold standard for nearly 200 years, starting in 1789. And then it changed. The gold standard was abandoned in the UK in 1931. The gold standard ended in the United States on August 15, 1971. Now money can be printed by governments. The objective definition of money is no longer valid. Instead, says Petitfort, money is based on a social relationship, that is, I promise to pay, a promise underpinned and upheld by public authority and governments. Economists have written that the thing we call money has its basis in a promise, a social relationship. Finance is all about trust. J.P. Morgan, patriarch of the banking dynasty, told the Congress in the 1912 hearings that led to the foundation of the United States Federal Reserve that the first thing in credit was character before money or anything else. In other words, we trust money because there is a social reality that it can be trusted. If the trust disappears, the social reality will disappear along with the trust. Consider the social construction of nationhood. Colin Crouch, Professor Emeritus of the University of Warwick, wrote, "The creation of national identities and local resistances to them was highly arbitrary." A nation is a socio-political construct. But the arbitrary can be very powerful if backed by powerful political forces and a lengthy history. This does not mean that people do not believe in them. They do, very fervently, sometimes dangerously. But globalization has removed key decisions to international levels, beyond the reach of any nation-state. In this case, the social construct of nationalism is not adapted to the realities of the 21st century. The world is in need of a new social reality. Italian academic Michel Marcenais stated in the article "National Sovereignty versus Globalization" that it is commonly asserted that globalization has eroded national sovereignty. It has rendered borders obsolete. Consider money laundering. The United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime is publishing the report Money Laundering and Globalization. Because of new technology, developments in financial information, technology, and communication, money moves anywhere in the world, and it can be nearly impossible to identify its source. The estimated amount of money laundered globally in 1 year is 2 to 5% of global GDP, or somewhere between 800 billion and 2 trillion in current US dollars. Money gained illegally, drug money, sex slavery, money stolen from government treasuries. The world is in need of a new social construct which is adapted to the needs of the 21st century. Human beings live in social reality as naturally as animals live in the physical world. It is essentially invisible. Many contemporary issues will only be solved with a new social construct, such as global citizenship. In this construct, a human can choose to interact with the world in a manner free from petty nationalism and instead as a citizen of the planet as a whole. In the middle of the 19th century, this new social construct was described by Bahá'u'llah as, "The earth is but one country, and mankind its citizens."